Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead of them and their companies. I'm your host, Olivia Salmons, and in each episode we'll uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, I'm very excited to be joined by Cory Blumenfeld, serial entrepreneur and founder of Blue Mosso. Cory has built multiple businesses and now focuses on helping founders scale by building the teams and systems behind their operations, allowing them to step out of day-to-day and allowing them to step out of the day-to-day and focus on growth. Through Blue Mosso, he helps businesses leverage outsourced talent, streamlining workflows, and building consistent and operational engines that actually support scale. Cory, welcome to Founders Future. Thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thanks for having me, Olivia. Excited to be here, share my story.
Pleasure to have you, and I'm very much excited to dive a little bit deeper and hear about your story. So, Cory, with all of my guests, I do actually like to start at the beginning. So if you don't mind briefly taking me back to what it was you was doing before you started up Blue Mosso, and then from there, what was the motivation behind it?
Yeah, for sure. I always start from the beginning. I'll start
From
the
the
real
beginning.
motive. The beginning. I always thought I was going to be a doctor. My whole life, since I was the age of 4, I was running around the house like a doctor's bag my grandfather gave me. So my whole life into university was I was going to be a doctor. There was nothing else I was going to be doing. I was struggling a little bit towards the end of university. A lot was going on in my personal life, and entrepreneurship found me. I'd always been like creative and building stuff. Growing up in my household, my family was like, okay, you need to be a doctor before you can do anything. You want to make a difference in healthcare because I was super passionate about healthcare back then. You have to be a doctor. My first venture was in healthcare, and it was totally accidental. I was in my last year of university and I started taking a course in entrepreneurship. And so like prior to that, I started businesses. I don't consider them businesses. It was like pay for school, fix people's driveways, wash their windows. This professor really captivated me. He was like, Cory, are you sure you want to be a doctor? You can help people without being a doctor. And that resonated with me. I went down that path and I told my parents, and they were not happy with that decision. But it just felt right because everything I was doing before that was super entrepreneurial. I just didn't realize that. So I started a business. I built that for 6 years. We exited. It was a real great learning experience. I called them my MBA because I learned a lot about entrepreneurship, how to work with people, how to manage teams, made a lot of mistakes. And when we exited that business, I was super, there was nothing else I could be doing, right? I couldn't go and get a job. I needed to build something else. And so I started building another business in the healthcare space, focused on the US market. I'm Canadian. And it was so interesting because those first two businesses, I had no experience. The first business, no experience in business. The second, I was Canadian teaching Americans about US health insurance. And we did that and exited that business. And when I exited that business, I was left with this hunger to keep going, but I didn't know what I was going to be doing. Something I felt like I missed out on in the first two businesses was putting myself out there. I'd always taken a back seat. I never blogged, I never put out content, I never really did any public speaking, and that was something I really wanted to work on. So I asked myself, okay, how do I improve at this skill? I don't know what I'm going to be working on next. I needed to find me, like I need something to find me. So I started posting on LinkedIn every day. And it was amazing. I wasn't good at it to start. The more I posted, the more people reached out to me. The more when I would DM an individual for a conversation, they would respond. And this never happened before for me. So it started taking over and it started becoming like a full-time job, keeping up with content. And so I brought in a VA to help me to manage this because it felt like it was a ton of work. And I know for myself with ADHD, I have a lot of ideas, I have a lot of thoughts. I can be all over the place. So I really had to build out a system for myself to make this work and for the other person to be successful. And I learned that from the other businesses, right? Like a lot of founders have ideas. They go to their team, they're like, I got this really awesome idea. I have this all, every day. It's a new idea. And we had to stay on track. It started really working out well with my VA. And I was mentioning, I was speaking to a lot of people because I felt that was super important. I needed something to find me. And when I'd have conversations with these founders, they talked about their experiences with their VAs and how challenging it was for them to manage people. And a lot of these were solopreneurs. They were small business owners, and they just weren't having success with their VAs. They were struggling. And I would explain, here are the systems I put in place. I write down everything. I break down every single instruction. When I think something is good enough, I try to make it even simpler because I find that it's easier for people to work off of that. We find things super easy because we're doing them every single day. You do this podcast pretty much every single day, so it's super easy for you now. And if someone was to step in to be a host for you and you explained it to them, you'd probably tell them, okay, this is what do every single day, and they probably find that complex because they don't do it. So I just found that managing individuals and giving them these instructions and breaking down the process, it was super helpful for them. And I was on one conversation, and one of the founders that I was speaking to was like, "Can you help me? Do you have a VA that can help me? Does your VA have some time?" And I went to this individual, Cha. She's my business partner now, and asked her, "Do you want to do some work for another individual?" And she said yes. And flash forward a year and a half, we have a team of almost 70 individuals working with us. We have over 70 clients across our different business units, and it's grown super, super quickly because we found that as a business owner, it's super challenging to build the business, manage people, build out the process, organize your operations, and just keep everything afloat. There was a big gap, and I think that it's clear that this problem or this gap is just going to continue to grow as more founders, more individuals start building businesses because it's never been easier to build a business.
So true. It's never been easier, never been harder at the same time because there's so many people doing it. But as you say, and also the essence of a business is not so that you end up with a glorified job. So what you were describing I had before, you was covering every role and then suddenly you realize, oh, I've got to start content creating, I've got to start marketing, I've got to start doing sales. And then suddenly you realize there's so many hats that you are wearing. And a VA is such a great solution to all of that. We use a lot of VAs here within the team and they're just amazing people. They work hard, they know exactly what you're doing. And as you say, if you can help them out in the best way possible, give them nice, clear SOPs, nice, clear instructions.
Yeah.
It's a very smooth process moving forward for any founder. And I love the fact that you started off without wanting to be an entrepreneur at all. Now you're still an entrepreneur, very much leaning into it. But I feel like you had the three best assets going for you. If you have that ambition to just help people, to be an entrepreneur, you're in such a great position to do that. Like even the job you've built so far, not only are you helping entrepreneurs earn more money, have a better business, and have a better life, you're also helping the people that are employing them, the VAs, again, do exact same thing, have a business, have a better life, and grow from on there. So you get such a nice trickle down effect, and then add ADHD on top of that, and you just become this like superhuman that takes control with all those ideas, which is a pretty cool aspect. So let's dive into that a little bit more. Let's dive into Blue Mosso, just so the listeners can have some context moving forward. Justin, at this point in, who would you say is your ideal client? Who is it that you very much love to work with the most? And then from there, how would you help them and how would you support them?
Yeah, the way I look at it is businesses have different stages. I know where we want to go and where we are today. Right now, we work with a lot of small businesses, a lot of solopreneurs, and these are individuals that don't have the time to be focusing on everything. The most important thing for a business, in my opinion, is really treat your team really well. If you have a team, if you don't have a team, put the clients first. And in order to do that, you have to be spending a lot of time with the client. You have to be spending time prospecting. And then there's all the operations that come through. And it's really hard. I talk about this a lot in my writing. As a business owner, there are a lot of tasks that can be delegated. If you can figure out what your hourly rate is, there's a calculation to do that. But like figuring out, okay, how much is your time actually worth? Anything that's less than that should be delegated. 90% of the things that make a business can be delegated. And I speak to a lot of founders that say, I can't delegate this, I can't delegate that. The important thing when it comes to scaling a business is being able to delegate, to hand off. It's hard for a lot of individuals to admit, but we're not the business. I'm not the business. I want to scale something, right? So for me, when I think about this, when I think about scale, where the business is going, what comes first is the team, and then helping business owners scale their business by teaching them this, teaching them all the tactics that I've used to scale my business. But yeah, there's a lot to unpack in this topic, and as you can, like my mind's racing, thinking, okay, where do I start? But yeah, our goal is to help business owners delegate more and have more freedom with the business to grow the business. But sometimes to grow a business, you also need more free time in your personal life because you can burn out super quickly. I see that with a lot. And I'll talk our most unsuccessful clients, the ones that have left us, they're the ones that find trouble handing things off. They have trouble delegating, right? They don't know how to get the process out of their head. And a lot of folks will say, I suck at process, but the process is there. It's just being able to hand that off and understand that they don't need to be doing everything.
Yeah, it's so true. And it is very much an easier process said than done. I speak to a lot of founders that find themselves in that same position, and it's always the yeah, but answer. But it is just a sense of, it is sometimes just a sense of actually handing over the reins. And you will find those right people. Yes, there'll be some people that aren't a great fit, but you just move on. And as you would with a client, you just take on that next step. But once you find someone that does click, as you say, it alleviates so much time off of your plate. So you can be client facing, you can be doing what is helping you drive that business move forward. You can be spending more time with your family. You can be working on other projects alongside the current business you have. It just alleviates a lot of time. So do you very much just find somebody, implement that into the business and help them with that scale? Do you put the processes in place as well just to make sure it runs very smoothly?
Yeah, we're a managed virtual assistant service.
Yeah.
We understand that for a lot of individuals, the process is there. If their business is working, if they're bringing on clients, there's some sort of process there. They've done something right. And so we
Yeah.
help them unlock that. We always start by building out the SOPs. We then build out the project management team. So we give them the individuals to support that growth, to ensure tasks are being completed, to manage that, because that's also the big aspect. It's the time to manage people. It's a full-time job. You can't just hand off something without supporting an individual. Otherwise, a lot of times they feel lost and they can burn out. We've tried to build out this managed system where an individual gets an executive team member. This executive team member is going to work with them from the beginning to build out the processes, to manage those SOPs. Then we give them a project manager. We call this a team lead. That team lead then is managing the virtual assistants to ensure that they're meeting deadlines, to make sure that they're on top of things, to communicate with the client. Because a lot of times, the other core component of what we do is communication, and we're always trying to get better at. But once you have the processes in place, it's communicating to that client, helping them understand where we're at. Right? We don't want to leave them in radio silence, and then we want to ensure that the VAs are supported. So we find this works really well. A lot of the founders that we've worked with, they've come to us and they've said, I've had such bad experience with VAs. And a lot of times I look at them and I ask them, okay, what can we be doing better? Because it's
Mhm.
not always the VA, it's the support that we provide the VA. So we provide support to the founder and we provide the support to the VA. There's kind of two sides to it.
Love it, yeah. Beautiful. And as you say, it's quite often the case if you're not managing a team properly, again, that team's not going to work out. So you're putting not only the
Exactly.
systems in place, you're putting the people in place and make sure it's all organized and operated properly. Very much like a sports team. It's like you would never expect to go that unsupervised or that goalie, but you would never expect your goalie to be your striker in football. It's that same aspect, exactly what you're saying. It's organize it in a way where everyone knows what they're doing and it takes very little time to manage on everyone's end, but the success and the growth that you get from it is what you're looking at. Now, what I'm very curious to find out, because naturally, like the field of VAs is very much growing. It's a very busy space online at the moment. So, what are you doing at the moment in terms of marketing, just to acquire new customers, get your voice heard? Like, what channels and methods are really working well for you, Cory?
Yeah, and the way I look at it is where we are today, where we're going to be tomorrow. Today, everything's referral based. We spend a lot of energy on our current clients because we know our current clients create that flywheel, right? They're going to lead
Mhm.
to more clients. It's been a year and a half. We've grown, I think, relatively quick, and it's been really focused on our clients. It's,
Love it.
I would say, 99% referral based at this point. We've built some really strong relationships. Our clients don't ask anything. They have friends that are struggling and they introduce us to their friends. They introduce us to individuals. So a lot of it has been from just the really awesome work our team's doing and the experience that our clients are having with us. Other than that, people notice our VAs doing work out there and they'll reach out to the VAs and it seems like our team's super loyal because one of I would say our number one priority, as I briefly mentioned, is our team comes first. The
Yeah.
team always comes first. We put them first because we know who's taking care of the clients. It's the team. So a lot of times we'll have individuals reach out to our clients or they'll reach out to our VAs asking if they can get support. And our VAs are very, really talented and also helping us drive leads. But yeah, we do some outreach, but that hasn't been our key driver. It's been referrals. And that's just at the stage of growth where we're at right now. In the future, yeah, we'll operate doing more marketing channels, but we're fairly young and we don't want to put the cart before the horse.
Yeah, don't need to dilute it before you got going. I know exactly what you mean. But like building a good referral system is it's a hard thing to do. So it just shows kudos to the work that you are doing and the support you are providing to
Yeah.
your VA. If you've got that nice system, especially what did you say, like a year and a half of growth in, that's a great system to have moving forward. And then you can add on when you need. And so as you say, take those next steps. And with that being said, like what are your visions or your like ambitions for the company moving forward? When you think of maybe the next 6 to 12 months, like what are those goals or those milestones that you're looking forward to achieving?
Yeah, there's a couple things because I have ADHD, as I mentioned, and I always have ideas. But one thing that we've built out an operating system, right? In order, like, we can help businesses get up and running, manage their operations, manage their team, and grow. And in doing so, it's also allowed us to build out other business units.
Yeah.
And for example, we were doing a lot of ghostwriting for individuals, and one of our clients was struggling operationally. So we came in a business partner to actually help run the business, and we became partners on that. One thing that we're looking to do is actually help businesses grow and come in as a growth partner to support growth because we have an operating system. We have the sourcing figured out because my business partner, 50-50 owner in the Philippines, she started as my VA. She's like family at this point. I'm actually going to visit her in a couple weeks, so I'm excited to meet the team in person. But that's one area that we're really going to be focusing on. The other thing that we want to do is right now, because of the stage of growth that we're at, it's just capacity planning. Being
Yeah.
able to support advertising and marketing efforts, right? We want to be able to onboard clients very quickly, have a more skilled process. I think and I get asked this question all the time, like as AI becomes more prevalent, right? Is this going to replace virtual assistants? I don't necessarily think so. I think that there's going to be the need for the human in the loop. There's this classic story with the banking industry. As the banking industry became more automated and there were ATMs, everyone was scared the bank teller job was going to go away. There are more bank tellers than ever, right? And that's a classic anecdote that people share. So I think as we get more AI and more tools, you will have more small business owners that are able to support, that are building businesses that will need support, that will still need that human in the loop. And there will be such a need for VAs. So for us, we want to meet that demand. We need to be able to meet that scale, and that's one of our goals. So I would say our two focuses are on being able to actually come in as a growth partner with other businesses and grow and build other
Yeah.
business units and actually meet the scale for the demand of VAs going forward in the future.
Amazing. I love that. So yeah, working on your growth while working on other people's is like that double-edged sword moving forward.
Yeah.
But just to touch on what you said about AI, I definitely agree 100% what you're saying. There needs to be a middleman that's going to be not controlling the AI, but definitely managing the sources that you're putting out. And I think a VA is a perfect solution to that role. Literally just having that conversation with you now is where my brain went straight away because AI won't be able to take over everything. It will help out business owners in such big assets. And I think maybe sectors more in the sales of marketing will be affected more than on the sales process or even on the operation side of things. So it's nice that you can have that middleman that will
Yeah.
be there to sew that all together. So it's a really cool
Yeah.
ambition. And there's one final question to you, Cory, before we log out. So if you could go back in time to your younger self and you could only leave yourself with one piece of advice moving forward, something you know now, but that you didn't know back then, what would you say to yourself?
That's difficult. What would I say to myself? Something, can I say, does it have to be one thing?
If you want more, you can give me more, it's fine.
Okay, perfect. The first thing is just get started. You don't need that experience. I thought my whole life, from when I was a young age, my parents telling me I needed to be a doctor before I could pursue anything else. It was just get started. When I did the landscaping in college to cover the cost of school, I had no clue how to fix a driveway. I learned through YouTube videos, right? The next business, the one where I was working with hospitals across Canada, no experience building a business. I just got started and just did it. The next business working in the US health insurance space as Canadian, no experience in US healthcare, and we got started and it just was an amazing experience. The VA business, I had no experience working with VAs. I had no experience on LinkedIn before. I just got started. So I think getting started and pushing past kind of the excuses. I don't like to use that word but pushing past the doubts. And then the next thing is, and I got it tattooed on my arm this year, find your easy, right? When you find something that you're natural at, it's just so much easier. And a lot of people try to push something. I was never like a straight A student. I had really had to work for it. Being a doctor was not my easy. I found entrepreneurship and it's just natural. There's nothing getting in the way of that. I love it. I can see myself doing nothing else. When you find that thing that just feels right, that it's still hard. Find your easy doesn't mean that it's easy. It means it's just a little easier than it is for another person, right? So it may look
Yeah,
super hard for another person, but it just feels natural. And once you find that, it's not easy to find. It's just life becomes a lot easier if you found your purpose.
I love that. And it's so true. And I'm going to start applying that to myself as well. And Justin, Cory, thank you so much for joining me today and for sharing your incredible journey and insight with us. Where can our listeners reach out best to work with you or connect with you if they would like to do?
Yeah, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm pretty active there. You can email me at hello@blumoso.com. You can connect with me on Instagram. I'm starting to grow my account there. But yeah,
Beautiful. Thank you again, Cory. I really appreciate your time today. And to our
yeah,
listeners, if you enjoyed today's conversation, please be sure to go and check out Cory, as he just said, LinkedIn, Instagram. Please drop him a message. I'm sure he would love to hear from everybody. And do not forget to subscribe to Founders Future via wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And
and
if
over.
you are, and if you are a business owner, specifically a coach, consultant, or agency owner, and you're really looking to scale your business and you want to enhance your sales and marketing efforts, visit closers.io to hop on a call with one of our team and discover how we went from zero to $30 million per year in less than 3 years. But until then, keep on climbing and we'll see you on the next one.